with a final royal salute to Elizabeth II. The state hearse will draw her away from her capital city and start her journey to Windsor Castle. Royal cars will come forward, members of the royal family will join them as a sister salutes her brother there. It will be for the Princess Royal and her husband, Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, to once again escort the Queen on her journey. Garrison Sergeant Major steps out of the way, and to Elizabeth II, a royal salute and farewell from London.
The national anthem is played as the bells of Westminster Abbey are rung fully muffled. This will live long in the memory. Children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren of the Queen watching her coffin gently placed in the state hearse. Princess Charlotte, a 7-year-old child, trying to absorb this day. She gazed out of the window as she was driven through London, at the people, their patience paid off, the parade before them something not seen in generations. Past the cenotaph, site of remembrance, across the gravel of Horse Guards Parade, and past the office of Buckingham Palace. Those people, that crowd, now applaud their Queen. passing the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. The flowers fill the cheers of thanks to the duty served. As the people pay tribute to this remarkable woman.
London has played its part in the start of this final journey for a truly remarkable monarch. And for many, the last 10 days has been hard to take it all in. And now, after the world leaders, the dignitaries have been able to pay their respects here at Westminster Abbey, it's now once again an opportunity for the thousands of people who've waited so patiently, lining these streets to say their own goodbyes, throwing flowers into the road and cheering. There is a lightness to this moment, a celebration of a life well lived after the solemnity that we saw at Westminster Abbey. An incredibly dignified and emotional service that really represented every facet of her life and everything that really mattered to her.
There is an enveloping experience of sound, now and throughout, contrasting the intensity of this service we saw in Westminster Abbey.
It began really with the massed pipes and drums as they arrived here at Westminster Abbey, really setting the tone for this military spectacle, the like of which many of us have never seen and are unlikely to ever see again.
Now, His Majesty's Lord Lieutenants were invited to the funeral, including Peaches Golding, Lord Lieutenant of Bristol. An extraordinary experience for everyone there and watching that.
It really was, and there were people from all around the United Kingdom. I ran into so many people that had come from long distances just to be able to pay their last respects to Her late Majesty, for all of the service, for all of her commitment, for the family of nations, the Commonwealth, the world. She was absolutely incredible, and everyone that could get to London wanted to be here.
And the draw, as you say, of royal families from around the world, heads of state, leaders of the realms too. It's hard to imagine anybody else who would bring such a congregation together.
And it's such a contrast between the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration of Thanksgiving, where we had lots of members of the royal family, lots of politicians and leaders, but today has been on a totally different standard. It has been so moving, so emotional, so beautiful.
It continues to be, passing the Royal Albert Hall, the landmarks of her reign and her forebears as well. In the service though, what stood out for you? What was the moment which captured her?
There were lots of references, of course, to Her Majesty's duty and service in the songs that were chosen, in the lessons that were read. The sermon captured it wonderfully. You remember when she said, "We will meet again at the end of, or at the beginning of the COVID pandemic." And to echo that, and to have layer upon layer of that sentiment through the readings was absolutely incredible. But there also were two little pieces of music that were written specifically for this service, and they were beautiful. One was the second of the two. The voices at the end almost sounded like that peal of bells behind us, just ringing through the changes, and it was gorgeous.
cheering, it's just celebrating Majesty's life as we did when we were here for the Mat and Jubilee 3 months ago. What was the atmosphere like inside the Abbey? Was it solid?
It is sort of reminiscent almost for the lying in state, because beforehand you made acquaintances with the people that were sitting around you, and they came from a range of walks of life, which was really lovely. But when the service started and the organ music kicked in, we all just got very, very, very quiet. And we watched processions coming in, but when that coffin draped in the standard with the sparkling jewels of the crown and the orb and the scepter there, we knew we were at someplace very, very special. Witnessing something we've never, ever witnessed again.
As you looked at those famous faces inviting the Prime Minister of Canada, the President of America, those leaders from around the world, what was their reaction to being there and making this journey?
Well, no one does pageantry and ceremonial in the way that the British do. And I think everyone gets swept up in that moment. The military, the precision, the costumes, it is just creating an atmosphere that you can almost drink in. No one could miss that, regardless of how large a nation or how small the nation they might represent.
And you have already worked with the new King and Queen Consort. We were looking at them as they were watching the coffin being transferred into the hearse, and you reflected on the sadness on the face of the Queen Consort. How difficult do you think this will be for them?
It has to be enormously difficult. What we can say is that the Queen embodied duty and service, and that is something that our King has drunk in throughout his life, his 50 years of public service. And the King Consort being there by his side, providing support for him, that he so greatly enjoys. He has told us as a nation that helps to live in strength. But they have done a tremendous job meeting people all around the nations. They must be tired, and they're doing so incredibly well. They must be emotional, but they're being able to hold it together. Our thoughts and our feelings and our prayers have to go out to them.
Talking to us. Thank you very much indeed. His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant Majesty. Well, Westminster Abbey, the company of angels, 5,096 angels. What's it for something?
Such evidences that is soon to be replicated here at the final little service of the Majesty of the Queen. I'm joined now by Commodore Anthony Moore, who is the last officer of the town so we'll be attending that. So it's very good to see you, Commodore. First of all, before we talk about the service here at St George's Chapel, your thoughts about the funeral and the procession that we'll be seeing right now?
Well, it's been a remarkable time, and building up to today has been, for us all, very, very special. And of course, for those of us who were very closely involved with the royal family in past years, are bringing that to mind with great honour and huge pride.
And you managed the very, very well indeed, because you were in command
At the supermarket.
didn't you?
I had 3 appointments with Britannia. Initially, I was the Royal Barge Officer, and it was wonderful to be able to use Britannia's Royal Barge at the Diamond Jubilee on the river, which was a very special occasion. We could bring that together, and it was wonderful for them to be back in the Royal Barge in 2012. And then, of course, my second job was as the Royal Cipher Officer of Communications in Britannia for the Silver Jubilee, and then finally to be in command at the end for the last 3 years to take up to that very sad decommissioning Well, extremely well in the sense that, of course, we were there to serve Her Majesty on board with the pride and very special royal yachtsmen who were a very long service that we had together, and so they were much loved by
mabarabara mengi yamefungwa,
with a lot of the
barabara nyingi zimefungwa.
Her Majesty and Prince Philip knew Britannia from the outset, and so throughout their lives, Britannia had a very special part, and we were there to support that.
As an naval officer, what were your thoughts when you saw the state gun carriage being pulled by those naval ratings so precisely, in such a dignified fashion?
I have no doubt it was exactly that, because they have done remarkable training for this. A lot of very young sailors are doing that for the first time, and I think for them this will long be a memory to them, and for us all who served in the Royal Navy to see that today as part of this remarkable day of farewell has been very special.
And it continues, as we're saying, a remarkable day of farewell. Couldn't put it any better. The Guard of Honour forming up here on Chapel Hill in Windsor Castle itself before we're going to see Her Majesty's coffin borne down in front of us, then into St George's Chapel. You're going to be part of that service. It's going to be smaller, a much more intimate service.
Very much, and I think from our point of view here, with our memories, of course, I'm leading a team of 10 Royal Yachtsmen who are members of the association, of which I'm the chairman now, and this very proud association continues remarkably well, and so for them all to be invited to be here today, we've got remarkable seats very close to the West Door for the arrival of the late Queen, and to be part of that today for them all, as well as myself, of course, is just exhaustingly exciting.
And what are your thoughts now? What are your thoughts going to be when we witness that scene as Her Majesty's coffin is finally lowered into the royal vault to join our husband Prince Philip, and then ultimately move then to the King George VI's private chapel?
Well, of course, for us all, it's an extremely poignant time because of the close connection we in the chapel today have all had with Her Majesty, Prince Philip, and all the members of the royal family. And of course, it will be hard for them all, and us all too, but a remarkable moment also for our new king, who knew us all so well and has stepped off with great pride and great dignity.
And the King of Naval Officer himself.
Absolutely. And so we feel that very strongly, and that relationship, I'm sure, will always be there.
It is the case, though, isn't it? It's the case at all funerals. That is when it finally sings, the final committee. We've been in mourning for the last 10 days or so. Is this the wrong phrase to use? We've kind of got used to it, but now it's really hitting home.
It really is. And I think, when we first heard it, 10 days ago, this massive loss, we were all just taken by surprise. We knew, of course, her great continuity that she had had, albeit at Balmoral and with her mobility problem, but she was there right to the end. And I think that all suddenly came true, and it's been hard for us all to bear over these last 10 days, and today in particular.
And Commodore, we very much appreciate you spending the time to talk to us here on Sky News. I know you've got to go and take your seat very shortly, but leave us in this interview with one of your final memories, your favourite memories of Her Majesty on board Britannia.
Well, there have been so many. I mean, I remember the happy times of Western Isles, and she was remaining on board, waiting to go and join the royal family who had gone ashore. Prince Philip was taking charge of the barbecue, and of course I was going to escort Her Majesty in the barge to go ashore, and she was doing her photograph album at the time. She said, "When I finish this, Commodore," actually she called me Tony, "we'll be ready to go ashore." And these are just a minor moment, but there were many, many others, and very special times for us all.
Commodore Anthony Morrow, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Well, now hundreds of thousands of people lined the route, as you can see, of the procession from Westminster Abbey Many thousands more will watch on as the state passes by on its journey right now to Windsor as it makes its way through the outskirts of West London. Well, my colleague Gillian Joseph has been with some of those watching on the Mall. Gillian.
Yes, Dermot, thank you. The pictures that you're all seeing at the moment are of the cortege going over Hammersmith flyover. Not as many crowds as previously. We've seen people lining the route as the cortege makes its way to Windsor. On the Mall at the moment, some people leaving, some still standing, staring, although the procession has now passed. But the mood is still sombre, and crowds are still here contemplating what they've just seen. Let's speak to a couple of people who are still here. We'll speak to Megan and Katie. Hi. Very interesting names that you both have in terms of royal connections. What was it like for you the moment the cortege went past?
Sad, very moving. The silence on the whole of the Mall was breathtaking. I couldn't believe how silent so many people can be. And the marching and the troops and the slow marching just made you feel so emotional. I'm so pleased I came.
And the mood still exists.
It does. I feel
now, but it's still quite quiet.
It is. Nobody's shouting. Nobody's running around, and it's very respectful.
And Katie, tell us what the moment was like for you. Obviously, you've had a very early start to the day, lots of preparation to be here, and you managed to be right at the front.
We were very surprised to be at the front, if I'm honest. We kind of expected to be at the back of a very big queue of people and not to actually see anything, but we were happy just to be here. We were happy if we ended up just watching it on the screen in Hyde Park. But to be at the front, we were really shocked and really pleased, yeah. So I cried instantly. I saw the coffin, and I actually missed the royal family completely. I didn't even see them. I was completely focused on the Queen. Yeah, she was everyone's grandmother.
And what was going through your mind at that particular moment when you saw the coffin for the first time?
Sadness for the royal family and for everybody, everyone that was here, and as my mum said, the respect for everybody. Everybody was so sombre, quiet and respectful the whole time, and in waiting, everyone was talking to each other, sharing treats, sharing memories. It was phenomenal, really. Yeah.
I can see you still crying.
Yeah.
What will you do now? The rest of the day?
Desperate for a cup of tea. We haven't had a drink since 4:30 this morning. So, yeah, that's a cup of tea and a sit down in a park somewhere just to reflect on the day.
Okay, well, we'll let you go off and have that sit down and that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking.
Bye-bye.
As I said, many people still here. There's one gentleman I'd like to introduce to you who's come all the way from Arizona for this.
Yes, in America.
Why did you feel that you had to be here today?
It's probably one of the most historic moments in the foreseeable future. And I don't know if the monarchy will survive long enough to ever see this again. And not in my lifetime will there be another monarch who reigned for 70 years, who was also as beloved by the British people. When the coffin went by, there was two lorry drivers, big burly men, tattoos, and they began sobbing. And as an American, it's very difficult to understand what the Queen means to people until you're here and you're talking to people of all different walks of life about what it means to them and seeing their reaction. Because if a president died, you would never have this type of turnout.
Tell us about the moment you heard the news of the Queen's passing. Obviously, you were in America, still in America at that point.
So it was very early in the morning. I subscribed to Sky News on YouTube, and I saw it was just a purple square with her face, and it just said "Queen dies." And I immediately clicked on it, and it was a live feed. I think it was probably 6 p.m. your time, and immediately I just thought, I can't use the word I immediately thought, wow, like what do I,
But absolutely worth listening to John.
Oh yeah, I booked my tickets immediately because I knew that the prices would go and the availability would go very high. And so I made the trip, and it's totally worth it. Even though, you know, I'm an American, we don't walk. My feet are killing me. So yeah.
We'll let you get some rest. Thank you very much for speaking to us. There we have one gentleman travelling all the way from Arizona to be part of today's proceedings. With that, I'm going to hand you to Anna Botting, who's at Westminster Abbey.
The muffled bells still sounding here at Westminster Abbey, Gillian. It is a bright day, warm now, and a first chance for some to see Her Majesty. Roads lined again for her. Never in my lifetime we heard there a history shared here in West London, as it will be in Windsor when we go to Kay Burley. Kay.
Actually, just a second, if that's okay. Okay, meantime here on the long walk, it's 4.2 kilometres long. We'll see the hearse make its whole way up from one end right up to the castle. I have to tell you, it's 6, 8, 10 deep, people all wanting to pay their respects. Just less than 3 months ago, really, this is where they had one of the longest picnic tables in the country for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Very different sentiment today. Found two lovely people who'd like to talk to us. Hello. Tell me about your medals.
Yeah, I was in the army for 13 years. Went to Bosnia and got this one. Queen's Jubilee medal. Then Iraq more lately, but yeah, that was several years ago.
Thank you for your service. Why did you feel that you needed to come today?
It's just been that we've been watching on the news that really needed to be here. It was the final time really to see the Queen before, you know, being put to rest. So it was yeah, something we really wanted to do.
Where did you come from today?
We come from Cambridgeshire. Yeah, Cambridgeshire today. We just want to be here just to, yeah, I like to say just to pay our respects really, you know, he was loved by many, and we just thought it was just the right thing to do, you know.
You're quite a way back, aren't you? Are you comfortable that you'll get a good view, or was it just more the fact that you were here?
It was mainly because we're here, really.
Yeah,
but,
just being amongst everybody else, really. With the atmosphere here, I think speaks volumes. Right? So I think, yeah, it's just right thing to do to be here.
It's about another hour or so before we see the hearse make its way up the long walk into the castle, and finally for the Queen to be reunited with the love of her life again.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Months in the waiting.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really, yeah, quite amazing that you know, she has been reunited with him. Obviously had a long reign together. Just to be back there. Yeah, it's obviously very special.
Yeah. Thanks very much indeed. I wonder if I could just squeeze in here and see if these are... Hi. I wonder if I could have a quick word with you, Madam. We're live on Sky News at the moment. Why did you feel the need to come today? Hello. Hi. Why did you feel the need to come today? You're live on Sky News at the moment?
Oh, hello. Yes.
Hi.
Well, I feel the need to come today to pay my last respect to Her Majesty, our late Queen, you know. And she's been a wonderful person, such a lovely smile, and really, really kind heart. And I just wanted to be here to wish her and her family all the best, and to wish our new king a new beginning.
And you, Madam?
Oh, I have the same sentiments.
Why did you come to Windsor rather than feeling that you wanted to go into central London? This, of course, was home, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course it was, yes. Well, basically, it was the queuing. You know, didn't feel I could queue for 12 hours.
No.
You know, but coming here to Windsor, at least we could bring our chairs, sit down, and celebrate.
What's the atmosphere been like?
Oh, it's been lovely. Yeah, everyone's friendly. We met a family from Lancashire.
Yeah.
So everyone's been good.
Yeah. And the sun's come out. It could have been very different. I've been here many times when the weather's not been very good at all. But everybody seems to be, you know, joined with the same purpose, that they want to pay their respects. But it's not overly somber. People are sharing stories about it.
Yeah, of course. That's right. You've met her a few times.
I've met her, yes.
Tell me.
I've met her at once at I used to go to the polo, the matches. Our box was right next to the royal box. And I lived in Hayes, and she came to Hayes when she was celebrating her 80th birthday.
Okay.
So
lots of people talked
yes.
about her piercing blue eyes, and that's how they remembered her. How will you remember her?
I remember her by a lovely smile, a beautiful smile, and she just radiates.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Oh, excuse me. If I could have a quick chat with you, sir. Little person up there on your shoulders, you're live on Sky.
Oh, brilliant. Hello.
Hi. How's she coped?
Oh, yeah, she's been really good. She's been asleep for most of the time, to be honest, but she's woken up at the perfect moment, I think. Not too long, and everyone will be turning up.
Yeah. Why did you feel the need to come today, sir?
It's a historical moment, I think. A moment of great change and great sadness, but also happiness and hope. And I thought it was really important to bring her along, something that maybe after all pictures and videos she'll be able to remember and look back on.
And she'll always know where she was when she saw the Queen for the very last time.
Yeah, she was up on my shoulders.
There we go. It's good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Anna, the flights are still overhead just at the moment, but we are being told that they will be stopped very shortly indeed, so that when the Queen's coffin processes up the long walk here, it will not be interrupted by aircraft overhead. Windsor, of course, on the flight path, but that will be stopped very shortly indeed. A little bit later on, we're going to see if we can chat to another few people, see why they decided that they wanted to come all the way to Windsor today to pay their final respects to Her Majesty, who we'll probably see for the final time in around about an hour's time. But for now, back to you at the Abbey.
Reflections there from the Mall and the Long Walk in Windsor. Kay, thank you. Well, let's bring in Patrick Harrison, former Royal Communications Secretary to His Majesty the King and the Queen Consort, as they now are, and Louise Tate, the Queen's Scottish Communications Secretary. Welcome back to both of you. And we heard reflections there from the crowds who wanted to come out and see this moment.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm really struck today by the finality of all of this. Over the last 10 days, we've always known there's going to be another day, there's another event to look forward to. But this really is it. This is the final goodbye. And we're seeing it in a number of ways. This morning here, a very poignant service, I thought. And I was particularly taken when the choir started singing. And I'm sure others had moments through that service when they were particularly taken by what they were watching and listening to. And now, of course, people saying their goodbye as the hearse makes its way through London and on its way to Windsor. We've seen crowds applauding, we've seen crowds cheering, we've seen some flowers thrown, everybody wanting to be able to be part of that final goodbye.
There is a sense of history being made here, being watched by all of us. But the word finality was so hard, is it not, Louise, for all of those who are bidding farewell to their Queen?
Of course, it was a day that was inevitable after the last 10 days that we've seen. As Patrick said, there was always a something else and a something else, but today is the final goodbye, and I was particularly struck. As Patrick said, there's different moments, no doubt, over the last 10 days, but today the mass pipes and muffled drums, of course, would get me, but the diversity in that group really was just wonderful to see. And then, of course, Her Majesty's coffin pulled by the ratings from the Royal Navy. But what struck me also was seeing Her Majesty's equerries and former equerries walking alongside the coffin. And then the pages behind that. And, you know, she's been a constant in all her life so long. And I watched inside as the lady